Hello everyone, welcome to the most common mistakes that intermediate players make. And we start with the most important thing, and that is that most people are practicing in the wrong areas, but also in the wrong way. And when I meet someone who wants to become better in chess and I ask them how they practice and train chess, what they say is that they are doing tactics and that they are building up an opening repertoire. To do tactics, yes, that is the fundament. But of course it is important to do it in the right way so you actually can make use of this knowledge when you play yourself. When it comes to opening repertoire, well, my experience is that people are putting in too much time on this because tactics is the most important thing. This you should devote your time to, but also strategic elements and endgame knowledge and so on is normally more important than get deep into an opening. So in this movie, I will focus on tactics. In the next one, we go into the openings because I know that even though it is not so important to put all your time into openings, still it is of course good to have a strategy for how to do it in the best way. So what about this with tactics? First of all, some years ago I made a survey. I was checking out 2,000 games with players up to 1,500 in rating, and I found out that in 80% of the games, one player could have won a piece. So you do understand how important it is with tactics, because, one piece is totally so important for the game results. That, strategic elements like having a bad pawn chain or something like that is not so important. Then I studied out 2,000 games with players between 1,500 and 1,800. And here I found out that at some moment, one player could actually have won a pawn. And also here, one pawn is enough to totally change the evaluation when it comes to strategic element, or at least most often that is the case. So again, tactics is so important to have as a fundament for your play. So what should you do? Well, first of all, try to get a good routine. 20 minutes per day of practicing tactics, but do it in themes. And what do I mean with that? Well, let's take a look. What you do is to have one theme, and you start with the basic position, the basic idea of this tactical theme. For example, in this position that you see here, I guess that most of you can see that this is a back rank checkmate. You have 3 pawns in front of the black king, and so there is no place that the black king can go to. So if you give a check like with this, rook d8, then you have a checkmate position, a back rank checkmate. So now you look at the position, you identify the elements why this tactics works, and then you start to work with variations on this one. For example, let's take a look at this position. White to play, what should white do? And again, here, if you have done your homework a little bit with the first position and understand the elements, probably you find that white can play rook to g8, king take, and queen to e8 checkmate, because there is a pawn on f6 covering up the g7 square so the black king cannot run away. And then next position, a little bit more complex, and step by step you will implement the knowledge of how a back rank checkmate tactics can work. So in this position, black to play, what should black do? Yes, black has got a great move in queen take f2, because after rook take f2, the only move, then you have check on b1, rook f1, bishop to c5 check, and now it will soon be checkmate after queen d4, bishop take, king h1, and rook take on f1. Checkmate. But we can take it one step further. Now, again, when I see this position, I see 3 pawns in front of the black king. I can see that there is a vulnerable rook on d8, and if I just can get down my rook to that square, then it will be a checkmate. So can I take away the black queen or rook from defending d8? Yes, there is a great move. you can play queen to a7, a lovely move, because again, if the queen is taken by the queen like this, there is a checkmate in this position. Or after queen a7, if rook take d5, you have take on a8, and you can see there will be a checkmate. And finally, if queen c8, try to cover up, then you have queen take a8, take, and you have a checkmate. So what you should do is to go step by step from this basic theme for 20 minutes a day. You should work yourself to the situation that you actually understand when this can happen. So when I practice with my students, my goal is to create a huge backpack with all these themes, tactical themes, so that you, when you play yourself, you can find the right way to continue. But for that, you also need a map. And with a map, I mean good tools, how to find the right theme, tactical theme in your backpack. But that we come back to later on. So, thank you very much.